No. Oh, what does that say? We're
There
good.
you go.
Oh. Hi.
Hi. Hello.
Are we getting funny light there? Should I do that?
There we go.
It's,
Bit of a.
well, it's the solstice, and this is my son. Good morning, everyone. Hi there. You go. Marty, I happen to know this because I snuck in on Pam's tour. So Marty out on Bowen Island, out on the West Coast. It is Marty's birthday today. So that, you know what? The good news is it's your birthday still for 24 hours, even though you get less light than normal. But I think that's pretty exciting. So, gens de pays, c'est à ton tour de te laisser parler d'amour. So Marty once did a live tour with me. And Marty was originally from the States, Chicago area, but we love having you here. Hi, Michelle. So you're so welcome. I'm so glad you joined us this morning. So, you know, we really waffled. Of course, the last few years I've done live tours at the top of mountains and things for sunrise, sunset, but we are having an El Nino year. In fact, Julianne's here. Hi, everyone. Hi. By the way, we do get a better chat. Hey, Marlene. Chloe's here, Diane. Oh, it's so nice to have everyone. Well, you're welcome, but it is warm. It is, in fact, maybe I'll show everyone. By the way, see, we have Christmas socks or whatever you call them, and also happy Hanukkah to everybody. But we're going to do some breakfast, but sunrise is not for another 15 minutes out here. So not so bad, but the temperature outside, I don't know how well you see that, but it is actually nearly 4 degrees above freezing. That is way, way, way too warm. This time last year, we were minus 42. Do you remember that, Finn?
You remember that.
So,
which is colder than -2.
Well, I always like minus 40 specifically. Boy, the lights are funny. Do you think I need to wipe the camera a little bit?
Maybe I'll give it another try.
It could just be the camera, or we're getting these wonderful beams of light. No, maybe I'll. Here, what I'll do is I'll switch.
Put the under counter ones on. There we go.
There we go. So the solstice is important, ladies and gentlemen. And we live in a country, and we'd like to acknowledge that we are on Treaty 7 territory here. Treaty 7 territory, of course, this is OK, for example, which is hello in Blackfoot. Umboastich, which is
Stony Nakota.
Stony Nakota language. Tsutsina, I can't pronounce it. Métis, Treaty 3, so we can say bonjour or bonjour. But all of this land, of course, hey, Danny, good morning. Big hugs to you, my friend, Danny. Of course, this land, for people have lived in our valley, we know quantifiably for 13,000 years. They probably weren't living here before that for at least a period of time because this was all full of snow and ice.
However, they have found arrowheads related to the small tool Arctic tradition, if you remember from our cave and basin tours, going back to about 16,000 years. So that is pretty cool.
That's awesome.
We don't know if they were living here or if they were passing through or if it came here through trade, because, of course, in more recent times, indigenous peoples came into the area to trade from east and west, which is how you'd have the people of the plain, the Stony Nakota, eating salmon from the west coast, and people in the west coast using ochre paint that comes from our prairies here. So pretty cool.
What's fascinating is trade. Hi, Pam. Sorry, I just want to say hi, Polly. Hi to everyone. What we did is we were able, I've been goofing around with this stuff this morning just to try and live stream and see how YouTube works a bit more. So there's no pause on chat. Whereas there are pause on cougars. But so you're able to chat and say hi to everyone. It's sort of like the fun old days. So it's nice to connect. Sorry if it flies by us. This is my mate because I've got my South American shirt on today, everyone. Because down there, of course, it's the longest day of the year. So if you're looking for any drama in Bolivia, this is not the day. Whereas Finn has got Hutterite eggs.
Hutterite eggs. So here in Alberta, we have quite large communities of Hutterite people. They are religious communities originating from Germany. And they live in what are called colonies. So it's communal living. And they produce some kick-ass eggs. Free run, I think probably the best eggs that you can get in Alberta. I will say that. I'll make that statement. If someone wants to prove me wrong, I eat like 4 to 6 eggs a day. So you can send me eggs if you want to prove me wrong. I will gladly let you know. But the Hutterite communities here produce some really good grain, some good meat. Lots of good stuff. Quite a few in southern Alberta there, all the way up to the north, kind of dotted all around.
Finn has been eating all the eggs because he needs the protein because we've been going to the gym, of course, every day. But it closed last night. Now, most people around the world during the holiday season, of course, are going to the gym. Our gym closes here in Banff because it's at the Banff Center, the Sally Borden Center. The staff are fantastic and it's so fun. But I've been climbing every day since I've been home. And I can feel it, seeing getting the calluses back again. But it closes for 11 days, which is nice for the staff, but a bummer for us because normally we'd be skiing. When the light comes up a bit more, I'll show you outside a bit better. It is, the back of our house should be totally white, and yet it's blowing, and they're actually calling for some rain today. Yesterday, I went and bought salt, and we don't like to use salt here because it's not good for the ecosystem, of course. But in front of where our house is and our neighbors, there's just sort of a slant to the driveway, and it's a sheet of ice. And we have, my mom's coming out on the weekend, and I have my friend's mom. Finn's looking cool. Come ski for us, kid. And someone's going to fall because it freezes overnight. Look at that, eh? So I'm making myself some tea. So what are you making for breakfast, Finn?
Eggs.
Eggs.
I'm going to make some eggs. I'm going to do it a little bit differently, though. I'm not just going to cook eggs. That would be kind of sad. I love whenever you're talking to someone who doesn't really have any cooking experience, and you ask them, "Do you cook?" And the first thing everyone always says is, "I know how to make eggs," and it's like, yeah, I hope so. But it is a very delicious universal food. There's a lot of cool ways to make it fun. I keep seeing these recipes pop up on my phone or on my feed of people who will make egg recipes while they're froth the white before cooking it. So it's like cooked frothy egg with the yolk in it. I want to try that. Dad's going to hit me in the head with an egg. Anyway, that's my egg tangent.
That's Finn's egg tangent. I did not cold plunge this morning, but I probably will go after. Hi, Paula. Finn and I are actually going to the city today to run a couple of errands, but I have been plunging, as you've been seeing online, going into the river, and it's a whole group of us here in Banff. It's not like I'm the only crazy one. We are collectively crazy. But Finn even comes in every now and then. You're doing the cold showers.
I cold shower every morning. Yeah, I have done that for a little while. I prefer the showers just because I don't like the feeling of being completely submerged. Whereas when it still freezes you to your core, but the water's running, I prefer that. It feels like I can get ready for it too. When I go into the thing, I'm hyping myself up, then I have to slowly droop down. Whereas when it's in a shower, I can
Michelle agrees.
Showering.
Well, so this is so interesting that Finn says that because I would be the exact opposite. If I'm traveling and I'm only going to have a cold shower, then what I'll do is I'll leave shaving cream on and conditioner because I find it really hard when it switches from hot to cold. Whereas the full submersion is great. However, that said, it is good for me. So people ask a lot about it. What are the benefits? I've been reading about it.
It smells like garlic.
It does smell like garlic. The whole house smells like garlic. And we'll tell you about some of our garlic cooking the next few days. But the idea is, of course, these ice plunges that we're doing here is you aim for about 3 minutes. So there's a reasonable chance that in the next couple of days, I'm going to acquire a pair of booties. I just feel as though it's going to happen. It's my feet that are getting too cold and the hands, the extremities. One other extremity gets really cold as well, but this is
your big toe.
My big toe. I know, but the idea is to get your core temperature down, but not hypothermic, right? And as you do that, then of course you have what they call, brown fat around your organs. But I come back, so I literally get out of the water. I just put a towel around my waist because of the car, although I prefer to. Hey, Robert, good to see you. Okay, buddy. Hi, Hannah. So I put a towel around just really because I don't want to get the car wet. But in the summer, of course, I ride my bike home. But then I spend at least a half hour. Usually stretching, doing some exercise, but just warming up organically. And if
that's
you can
the guy who does karate in the park.
I'm not the guy who does karate. But if you can warm up organically, and then eventually, it's interesting how I'll feel cool. Hey, Finn, T and J are here as well.
Oh, hi, aunties. How you doing?
There.
Good to hear from you.
Lovely to see you both. See, there was an upside to doing this. Now,
so what I'll just say real quick, Dad.
Sure.
To interrupt you, entirely, is what Dad's saying is when he's talking about these cold plunges and stuff, when he says warm up organically, Dad's got into Whole Foods. So every day after his cold plunge, he goes into Whole Foods. He buys $9 asparagus water.
We don't even have
one. We don't have one.
But
our grocery stores are pretty good.
But the warming up, that process of warming up is really.
If we had a Whole Foods
See?
here, I bet it'd be
See,
good.
see how happy we get when we're in the water? Ta-da!
That's him smiling.
It's a good feeling, but you do, I think for some people it's shock. And someone asked me the other day if they have Reynards. Quite a lot of people say they get that. I'm sure it's not probably ideal.
Reynards, I do not have any foxes.
You'll have to explain that joke, Finn.
In French, fox is renard, and so
see,
Reynards.
Warming up organically, everyone.
Yeah, that's because the food's organic.
So listen, gang, whether you are, obviously we're not a Christian household, but we absolutely do Christmas, because when you live in a place like Banff, we look exactly like the postcards of Christmas everywhere.
Yeah, it's a winter carnival.
It's a winter carnival, and
We
it's
did do
super
Hanukkah.
fun. Yeah, well, Finn did Hanukkah. I was down in DC, and I'm not sure if Karen is here today, but I went and visited Karen and Rick, of course, in Virginia, and I keep saying, but I had such a wonderful time with them. We had beautiful weather, and I went to West Virginia for the very first time. So I saw Maryland,
And
West
Mountain
Virginia,
Mama.
and Virginia. I didn't see Mountain Mama, but it was just so neat to be there. Boy, is DC an interesting place. You still have not been to DC.
Never been to
Griffin?
DC myself. No.
No, I think it's well worth a week, but it's, we go back and reflect on the year, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sure we'll try and squeeze in a breakfast or something before the end. Thanks, Paula. Paula's helping with Renard versus Reynard.
Thanks. Yeah,
But we'll try and do a year end. But I've had my last flight for the year. I think it adds up to 76 flights this year. And Finn, you've been to Australia twice this year, right? So they are having
twice.
their
That's the only
longest stay
travel
here.
I've
Yeah.
Oh God, can you believe it? That's the only travel I've done.
Well, they're very hot down there. I guess they're having a heat wave.
We are.
And in fact, in a warm thought, particularly Finn's uncle works in Indigenous Queensland, and they are helicoptering people out of communities in the far north of Queensland right now. And that is directly related to this crazy warm weather we have right now.
It is
So this
really devastating to the communities up there. So if there's anyone on here from up there, I'm not sure if there is, but of course our hearts go out to you. I know it's been a very tough time for some folks down there, especially with my uncle, because he does directly work in those communities. But it's pretty rough to see. And Australia is often the victim of flash flooding or wildfires and stuff like that. But this flooding has gone into cities like Darwin in northern Queensland, and you literally cannot.
Northern Territory.
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
In Darwin, Northern Territory,
Cairns.
and then Cairns in Queensland, and communities in Queensland, and it is literally completely flooded, like up to the roofs of homes. So
There's Treeside. You're down there in Queensland.
it's pretty tough.
So the flooding that's happening there and the cyclones is exactly why we have no snow. I know I was skiing the other day, but one of our neighbors here runs all the equipment at Lake Louise, and we're good friends, and he said, it's been such a tough year, but they warned us about it. Hi, Karen. Thanks. You're allowed to have a brain fog. But yeah, so this is what El Nino looks like. And of course, growing up, these terms, I remember El Nino when I was younger, we had about, 1 in 10 years, we'd have a winter that was unusually warm. I remember in Edmonton one year, people teed off on Christmas Day. So it does happen, but it's the intensity that it's all happening with now, of course, are these massive changes that are around us. Hi, Rosie. So, it is a real effect, and it's a real effect on all of us. And say the downside to us, obviously we're not having the flooding like they are in Australia. On the other hand, if we don't get a lot more precipitation, then we're going to have fires next year, just like last year, right? And that's our real concern here environmentally. And this is everyone's concern, because those of you in the big population centers, Toronto, New York, and all that, what it was like to get all that smoke last year. Yeah, Robert, I heard down in Ottawa, it's warm as can be. And, I flew through Toronto last week, and it was just bare. By the way, we don't do product placement, but this is the best yogurt in the whole world. By the way.
It is really good yogurt.
and it has some honey in it.
And start a yogurt.
That'd be a good idea. It's just so good. See, I'm preparing my complicated breakfast, like I always do. So that's the organic warming up. Now, the one other thing to share with everyone, I am literally just making a smoothie, Paula, but Finn, you're making.
You'll see in a sec. I'm doing some yummy egg stuff.
Finn's doing yummy egg things, Paula. I juice every morning when I'm home. So Diane, this yogurt isn't that good? Excuse me as I clean the spoon. I got to clean up on your shirt. So the one other thing, some of you might remember that we had a global pandemic.
No.
And we closed down, and thank goodness we closed down because the world still managed to kill somewhere around 45 million people. But the one thing I haven't had for 3 years because of taking all the natural precautions is I have my first cold. And Finn's special friend,
Just say she's my girlfriend.
it's a special friend. Had a cold a few days ago, so I expect we're sharing the same.
Well, I haven't been sick.
So.
I don't have a cold right now. But remember I got really sick a little while ago? That was a bad week.
You got the flu.
I had the flu.
In Australia, though, mostly.
Well, no, I was talking about before that, actually,
Oh.
back home. Remember I was sick from school for a couple of days?
Yeah.
I've actually had a couple of things, funnily enough.
Anytime Finn has a test at school, he's sick. Actually, so Finn finished yesterday for the year.
For the semester.
For the semester.
Actually,
No, for the year.
Yeah, for the year, I guess. Actually, not for the semester, funnily enough. We come back to exams, which is one of the things I would never understand with the Canadian system. I think we should clear them out first.
I think that's
and
just
then go to the
Alberta.
holidays. Yeah, BC does it too.
Does it?
Yeah, I think it's the West, actually.
Does it?
Quebec doesn't, but.
All right. So, yeah, and Finn is looking at still either University of Calgary or University of Alberta in Edmonton.
Yeah.
No, so he'll stick around. Don't worry, you'll get to see him lots next year. So will we.
Although my
yeah.
path might be a little bit altered, though, with what I've been looking at recently.
Yeah, we'll save that, though.
Yeah,
Finn's looking
sure.
at different options, but yeah. But I mean, at least he'll start school here in the province. So he won't be too
I will
far
start
away.
school here in the province.
So, as all of you have got your food plans coming up over the next few days. So, tomorrow is just kind of chill. But then Sunday, which is Christmas Eve, we have friends coming out from the city. And so, where is my aha? So, I will be starting with these escargots. Now, I make escargot a lot, but these ones I got last year in Saint-Pierre et Miquelon, the two French islands off the coast of Newfoundland. So I've been saving them to do those. So we're not, incidentally, and I know Chloe's here, we're not having a vegetarian Christmas. Finn's doing a kosher Christmas.
Should I show how not vegetarian
Do you want to show?
The first two are not for me.
Yeah.
They're for Dad.
So,
But we've got, my girlfriend's also a big pork eater.
because she's Filipino.
So,
So this is chorizo, which I will be making today, but not for eating till Sunday, with red wine sauce and ginger. Then you got a little bit of pig, which is really just turns into bacon.
Now this is what Finn Toomey's in charge of. Right here. And I don't know if we talked about it before. I make really good roasts. This one's a sirloin tri-tip. Dad and I have talked about cutting little pieces off of it and making something else. If you're vegan, I'm sorry, but look at that. That is a unit.
Oh, Sayuri's here. Hey,
It
Sayuri.
is 4 kilograms.
Is it 4 kilograms?
3.8.
Oh, okay. We could do
that
frozen.
is, how many pounds is that? That's 10 pounds?
10 pounds of beef.
10 pounds
And
of beef.
no one's allowed to leave the table till it's finished.
Until it's gone.
Um,
I don't know if I don't remember if I talked about it ever, but when I was in Australia, not this time, but the time before, when I was over during Passover, when I did the kangaroo burgers with my little cousin, while I was there, I made a Passover brisket for my uncle who'd never had it before. That was like really good. So I claim bragging rights to making good roasts.
Rita, we did mortgage the house to buy that.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
The honest truth. Yeah, we
Yeah, welcome to Canada.
yeah. Oh, I know. It's
Yeah, Australian beef is so much cheaper.
But also, yeah, I mean, otherwise, but for you vegetarians, Chloe, you could still come over because we're going to make beautiful onion soup, and it's only a slightly beef broth with it.
Pretty eggs. So we're starting out.
Finn's doing his, and it still is it. Oh, I think official sunrise has happened, but we won't see it for a while yet. But I do want to show everyone just how dry it is.
Now on these eggs, I'm going to put some tomatoes because it makes the bread taste better. Some cilantro. Always like cilantro. Makes it nice and fresh.
And then I'm going to pour my smoothie all over Finn's.
Yum. Then some green onion. And then last but not least, thank you to my lovely mother who has made some pickled onion. Love pickled onion. So I put that on top.
Hey, Sarah, it does all sound yummy, doesn't it? So because our because the gym's closed now, and then we don't tend to ski over Christmas either because it's really busy. So have Finn teach you how to roast. Yeah. Oh, actually, before I forget, I want to say something to my friend Karen here, because Karen, you said in the messages that you're elderly brain fog. So first of all, Karen and Rick are bright and engaged, and I think people need to stop calling themselves old.
Agreed.
There's my point.
That's a great point for an old guy. See, I'm not. He's not calling himself old. I'm joking. Don't call yourselves old, everyone. You confirm in your brain that you're old, and then you think you can't do things when really you can. I saw Grandma the other day sledding over here. Made me very happy. She looked to be about 150 or 70, somewhere in between. She hadn't intended to, mind you. Yeah. We pushed her. But no, I saw a lady up here sledding. She was older, and she's having the time of her life. And I think, there's a lot of people when they get older, they feel like they need to fit into a certain mold or can't do things because of their age. And I think they absolutely can. So have fun. That's the moral of the story.
Our rule, see, Karen, our rule is that I always want to be healthy enough to do the things I say I like to do. So even if I do them at a slower pace, but yeah, so in terms of exercise, though, it's going to be a lot of biking, even the cross-country skiing. I mean, we'll probably drive out to Lake Louise, but, on Pam's tour this morning, you saw the snow isn't really a beautiful color. Sorry, Mike, I put in too many greens.
So that's basically what I say. The best part about these eggs and why I maintain that these are the best eggs is if you go
Carpe diem, I agree.
And you break the yolk, it is like this really delicious orange color. And it goes to show how healthy the egg is. Sorry, I've become like an egg fanatic. When you get grocery store eggs or caged eggs, you should do this with your eggs at home. Check it out, honestly, because I think the $1 extra or the $1.50. I mean, I think actually, because we buy these in the slot of 18, we pay the same amount per egg as getting a pack of these, a 12-pack, because we get more. Yeah, but for $1 more or $1.50 more, I genuinely think it's really worth it. Take your eggs at home and crack it. Take a look at the white and the yolk. And one thing you'll see is if there's no little pieces of protein or little white in the actual yolk, it's probably a very thin yolk, right? Second of all, if your yolk is really yellow, really bright yellow, pale colored, probably not the healthiest egg. And I know for our case, I just don't find that they taste super good. But if you do have the option to get good eggs,
and the treatment of the animal too.
Exactly, the treatment of the animal is the next part, because a lot of those animals are caged. Hutterite eggs are completely free run in our case, and it makes baking better too. I made a really good challah the other day.
Do you have any left?
I think some of it's packed up. I brought some of it to school too.
Right.
I made
What is challah?
Challah? So challah is a traditional Jewish braided bread, and it's often used to commemorate Shabbat, so the end of the week, the Sabbath day, and it's one of my favorite things to bake, and it actually made our challah taste better. You can taste the
yummy
egginess. And I actually made one for any of the Australians or Southern Hemisphere folks on board. I made one in the style of a Boston bun, which is basically with raisins and fruit in it, and then coconut icing, which seems kind of funny, but
I have Banff buns.
Yes, you do. And it was very delicious. It was very, very good. And the other one, my special friend actually braided. She did a great job, but it made the baking taste good anyways. There's my little tangent about
Marty's eggs. Asking, but what egg balances the best for the spring equinox? Well, usually spring is a time of birth. Deviled eggs?
I don't know.
I don't know. That's I tell you though, I probably told you, Marty, the reason I don't eat chicken, because it's foul.
Anyways, there's my egg tangent.
Has to be said. So Finn, that's Finn's egg tangent. We were very tempted to switch over and take you out for the lights this morning, but I'm glad we didn't. It's a very flat light outside here. Paul, I'm sure you've heard that one before. It's now, we don't see the chat quite well enough, but we are wondering how many of you, hey, nice to see you, what everybody else is doing. You've missed the puns. You know what, Melissa? Absolutely. I shared one on my own Facebook day. I almost shared it at the van, but then it was a little bit rude. But it was a guy walking along saying, I hate El Nino, and he's carrying his skis walking through a river because we're having, such terrible snow. But the puns are good. They keep us witty. And Pam was saying, some people really struggle with the shorter days. And now I've personally found it super easy this year, but then I go away so much.
Yeah.
And we've found, signing back up, I had forgotten really how much we enjoy going to the gym. And I say we because it doesn't matter. Our gym here, the actual gym is okay, but I've got the climbing wall, so I spend time there. But we have this swimming pool with a glass roof on it, and we swim right around sunset. And you go there, and then of course it could be, some days it's properly cold outside, and then you get in that steam room, and you just feel so alive afterwards.
I don't know how to describe it. I'm going to bring back a little bit of nostalgia for you. For me, it's like 2010s nostalgia because I remember going there on hockey games. But and where I'm going with this is when Dad says glass roof, it's like a big enclosure over the pool, like one of these curved ones.
Mm-hmm.
So do you remember, I think it's been around since like the 90s, right? But for me, like late 2000s, mid 2010s, the Dairy Queen had the curved roof with the enclosure on it. You'd go sit in the Dairy Queen and you'd during the winter, and it was heated and it would have that curved window on it. It's like a core childhood memory for me, going to hockey games and tournaments and sitting in there. And that's what it reminds me of. Is like that curved glass window.
Sorry, Donna just asked, why do we get ads in the middle of the tour? I don't know, Donna.
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
So we are actually monetized, but we've done so little on YouTube because unless we're home, it fails. Is it a banner ad or does it stop and give you an ad?
I think it's
because I think we earn something like 0.0002 cents for those. That's so interesting. So it's 10 seconds. Oh, right. That's now I am going to say stops the feed, does it? Oh, that's stop. That's very interesting. But this is the first time we've tried a YouTube one in so long. So we wanted to try this. And because I got so annoyed with Facebook the other day because 3 tours in a row, the sound is cut out. And I do want to say, ladies and gentlemen, of course, we appreciate the support. But really, we do these live videos for just kind of love of the community, to be honest, at this point. It's that's the way it works. I can tell you that I still have been putting in my tax information into YouTube, but in the entire year of 2023, it looks like I have earned 241 Canadian dollars. That nearly covers the mortgage for a day. But long term, I think all these places are good to be. Did you enjoy that?
I did.
You seem to
good. I
yeah.
like gigs.
But that's sorry. So yeah, Melissa, you're not and that's the other thing. A lot of people aren't on Facebook now. It's almost worth going on Facebook just for that. Yeah. Well, again, up to now, the live streaming has been great. But
I have a fake account that no one will ever know is me.
Yeah,
Finn Rumi. Yeah. And it's not because I intended it to be a fake account. I misspelled Toomey. It's Finn RWOMUY when I was making it. And I didn't realize that because I was signing up for airport Wi-Fi, as you do.
Of course.
And then I didn't realize that you couldn't change your name. And then people were like, yes, you can. Apparently not on Colombian Facebook, which is where I signed up for the account. So Medellin Airport got me locked down with Finn Rumi.
So that's his long-term name there. No, ça fait plaisir. Of course, I do have a tour up on Christmas Day because I've always done one. And I'll probably go down by the Bow Falls, but we'll see what the day's like. It is meant to be the next few days. Let's show you the back right now. You'll see how ridiculously warm it is out here. You see, that should be so much more snow. I actually shoveled the deck the other day because it was worrying about rain. Now, some blue is coming out, so that's nice. But, this looks more like May, or October than it does 2 days before or 3 days before Christmas. So, in terms of the solstice, though, what's very interesting is depending where you are in the world, the solstice may have happened already. For us, the 21st, 22nd, 23rd are all exactly the same length. However, we've shifted. So sunrise today and tomorrow is 1 minute earlier, or 1 minute later than yesterday, but then the day is a minute longer. So that's just a really interesting thing. And I'm going to get a little bit academic for a minute, but this is cool. The precession of the equinoxes. So when you go and look at some of these places, you might remember earlier in the year, I was up in Orkney and they've got some of the oldest standing stones in all of Europe, in all of the world. But we have medicine wheels out here in the prairies that go back 5,000, 6,000 years, 7,000 years. But if you know that they are lined up for the solstice. If you know that the light is lined up to come in right on the solstice or the equinox, right? So something like Stonehenge, we know that. Well, if it no longer lines up, then we can date the actual site itself. Now that is because, hey Danny, that's because the Earth is, of course, on a tilt. We all know that, right? Well, it also wobbles as it spins. So this is called the precession of the equinoxes. Feel free to read about it. It's fascinating. So when people say that we're coming in to the age of Aquarius, well, we are in the sense of the rising constellation. Now here, if we ever do constellations, we do them in Korea and so forth. But because it's rising, if you know that something was set to line up for the solstice and it doesn't line up anymore, it's simply a case of doing the math and reversing the wobble in the Earth, which is about a 2,300 year gentle wobble, and you can line up right when everything was built. So it's a way we can date things. And so it's a fascinating bit of history. And of course, humans around the world have always used, of course, the seasons. And the further you are from the equator, the more important those seasons are to your life, right? Like say the last moon in November was the digging moon. Well, that's because the bears start to dig a den and all of that, right? So they pattern out. So this is a really interesting thing. And one of the points that I find so fascinating is if the Sphinx in Egypt is lining up for the rising of the equinox right on Cancer, which, you know, makes a lot of sense, of course, because it's literally on the Tropic of Cancer. If that's true, it means those pyramids were laid out in 10,000 BC. You know, isn't that? I mean, it's cool. It's a fascinating bit of science, and it's one of the ways that we kind of have a connection with our ancestors and with that kind of mathematical equation around the world. Also, next quick question for everyone. Hey Ken, what point on planet Earth is closest to the sun? So one would think the question is, what's the highest mountain on planet Earth?
Closest to your sun right now.
I'm closest to my sun.
Final answer.
No. What? The North Pole? No, that's a good one, Robert, but as the Earth moves. So I'm expecting people are thinking Mount Everest, right? The highest mountain on planet Earth. But I just wonder if anyone actually knows the answer to this, because it's a great question.
South Park.
South Pole, no South Pole.
Oh,
no.
They said South Park. Looked like South Park.
It's so, Robert, I totally see where you're going because of the way we are in the equinox. But if you take the Earth as a globe, which apparently is no longer the case. Have you heard about the Mount Everest? Well, exactly. So yeah, do you know that there are like a higher number of people who now believe the Earth is flat? Now, the highest point on planet Earth is actually in Ecuador, and it's called Chimborazo, New Jersey. Good guess, Arlen. It is called Chimborazo. It's a mountain. Finn and I have biked down it. It's about 6,300 meters, so that's definitely lower than the 8,700 meters of Everest. But the Earth is flatter at its top and wider at the belly, a bit like all of us after we eat at Christmas, right? And so that mountain, because it's nearly at the equator, actually sticks out further. So that's where we have lies, damn lies, and statistics. So it does widen the spin. So I mean, fascinating little bit of a history. And of course, there is, and I can't remember the name of it. There's an underwater mountain which would be higher than Everest as well. And what is the highest mountain in the solar system? Anyone else? It's on.
I don't know, but when I go like this, I feel like a bit of a Greek god. Not sure about you guys.
Mount Olympus. There you go. On Mars. Yep. Bali, Mount Olympus. Yeah, and it is so weird. I mean, it changes that whole planet. It's just
there's what is the time? I don't want to misquote it, but there is some crazy amount of time that if you fell from the top, and obviously, you know, this is factoring in Mars' gravity because Mars' gravity is different than Earth's. But if you fell from the edge, if you jumped off of it, it would take some extreme amount of time for you to hit the bottom. And the way in which it's formed, if I understand correctly, I used to be really into this stuff. There's a crater at the base of it. So you would actually fall further than what is considered the mountain. So it's pretty interesting.
Oh, it's fascinating. It's so all of that stuff is so interesting, doesn't? And I don't know about all of you, but I'm an addict to podcasts. So whenever I'm out on the bike or gravity, Robert, is a really sticky subject. But I find it attractive. That's come on, that was good. Little
magnetic.
I don't know if you understand the gravity of that joke, but anyway, ladies and gentlemen, listen, it's so nice to connect with all of you. this kid and I are actually, although I'm not where I was a little worried I was going to wake up. I just, I got that back of the nose thing. So I was a little worried that I was going to wake up kind of sick today, but I'm not. I just have a little clogged up, and I don't want to be because I want to taste all that good food. So I think I might be fasting for the rest of the day and sipping tea, and then see if I feel better.
So here's the factor. So Mount Olympus Mons is 22 kilometers high is how far it rises. 700 kilometers, so that's about 14 miles high, and then 435 miles in diameter, right? If you fell from the summit to the base, because it's pretty much a 5% incline all the way up, it would take you 70 hours to fall to the bottom of it. That is terrifying.
I don't know. You'd have a lot of time to contemplate stuff.
Yeah, that is a long time.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Appreciate that.
Those 3 pounds I am going to put towards a pint. Oh, Don, it's your birthday tomorrow, is it? Let me see what the weather's like. Because if it's really nice, Donna, I'll see about doing. I want to go out and actually do a live stream of all the lights in town. But it's just been this kind of yucky, flat weather. Do I use Karen? No, because I haven't had sinuses clogged for so long, but I will do something. I say I didn't plunge this morning, but I probably will later on today. But yesterday we went into our steam room, but now our gym's closed. And I'm so happy for all the staff there because they're awesome and they get the holidays off, but
that's good.
Still a bummer for us.
Same thing with my teachers, although I don't really want to be at school.
Yeah, Finn's got great teachers. So big happy birthday hugs to Marty and to you, Donna, for tomorrow. And I'll see everyone Christmas Day. And we'll see you, and of course, my friend Pam is doing lots of good tours. I'm sorry she's having phone issues, but that's good. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to cut off. We always finish with some kind of a hook, and usually it's about a story of mine, but actually, seeing as how Finn's here. So Finn went away last week with his lady friend. And as well, anyway, they went away, and then I got a call from the police. And that was a little bit of an issue. So what had happened is they were all ready to where they were going. Yet all of a sudden,